episode of Chatty Broads with Becca and Jess.
The beers are back in town.
Ooh, I like that.
Last week I was on heavy meds, so I couldn't hit the beers.
This is why what we're celebrating.
Now I'm taking a break from the meds.
And he survived anesthesia.
I'm back from the dead, baby. Yeah,
That hits different than the BL Smooth.
it does. We're drinking Bud Heavies tonight. The reds. This is like grandpa beer. You know?
This was my grandpa's beer, yeah.
Happy Friday, everybody. It's great to see you guys. Well, not see you, but talk to you. Can we just take a calming, cleansing breath?
I would love that.
Everyone, wherever you are, just take a deep breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth.
Is this what you're doing instead of pain pills?
Be with us now, in this moment, in this space and time. Slow your heart rate and come on this journey with us into a expanse of wonderment, joy, fear, love, sensuality, power, lust, dreams.
Where are we?
We're in heaven, baby.
This is the rebranding of Chatty Bros.
ASMR meditation.
Kermit.
Interesting.
Sensual Kermit. ASMR.
A drinking meditation would be very interesting. Like
Now
drinking a beer so that you're like
whatever you have.
you're like catching a buzz as you're meditating. I bet that'd be kind of amazing.
This one's just a light sip just to loosen your throat. The next one in 3, 2, 1. This is going to be a deep sip.
We're going to take you to a deep place with a deep sip. Feel the cold running down your esophagus.
You know when it's too cold sometimes and like too big of a sip hurts.
Yeah, it's painful. Did you ever have that thing in the morning when you drink a cup of coffee or a cold drink, let's say like a LaCroix, and you feel the cold like going down your body? Do you ever have that?
I love that
And
feeling.
you're literally like, whoa, I am feeling the drink move down my body.
That feeling is far more fun than when you drink it too hot
And you feel it
just
burning.
burn
Yeah,
as you just goes down.
right.
That's
It's
the
weird
worst.
to feel it like go into your stomach.
It's
and
not
settle.
even that fun when it's super cold out, when it's too hot.
Right. Crazy.
But too cold.
Too cold. Like,
You're like, whoa.
yeah, it settles weird. Yeah, dude, crazy weekend.
Yeah. So
Crazy weekend.
both had big weekends.
Right, sure.
We both had big weekends in different ways.
Big weekends.
Opposite
Let's
ends
get
of the
into our
spectrum,
weekends.
really.
Yeah, we're truly.
You had knee surgery,
Yes.
emergency knee surgery, and I was best man.
Right. Both big moments, one more catastrophic than the other.
But we both had one common theme at the end, which we found out is Amway.
It's Amway. Yes. Let's get into our weekends. Who wants to start?
Well, do we want to go bad news or good news?
Well, I think let's start bad because then we end good.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't bad news. It's actually good news.
It is
I had
good news.
surgery. It was successful. And so now I'm on like day 5 now of recovery, and today's been like a good day. It's like definitely feeling better today. The weekend was brutal when it come to pain, and I was definitely jacked up on a lot of narcotics, but now I'm kind of like planing a little bit, which is nice. It's like the first day that I haven't taken a lot of pain meds, which is nice. But the journey of, have you ever had surgery?
Yeah.
Have you gone under?
Yeah.
Okay. When was this? A while back?
Not too long ago, actually.
Okay, this was the mouth surgery you had, right?
This was my nose, yeah.
Okay, the nose. So I had surgery, last time I had surgery was like 17, so it was a long time ago. And so it'd be interesting to compare, experiences, because my experience was like I kind of forgot what it was like when I was 16, 17. So felt like I was kind of having surgery for the first time again. I was blown away at how like cold the experience was. You know what I mean?
You're a slab of meat.
I felt literally like a slab of meat on like the counter, you know? So it was like I show up and I cruise in and they're like, immediately it's just like, take off all your jewelry, take off all your stuff. We're going to weigh you like a slab of meat at Ralph's. And then you get in there and you sit on this bed that's just, they have you change into the smock.
And your ass is hanging out.
Ass is hanging out. And then you're like on this bed. And I don't know what it was like for you, but I had like this blanket that was made out of plastic that had air filling it. It was like, so it automatically just felt so not like warm.
Crinkles.
Not warm and homey at all. Very like just.
It's sterile.
Sterile, exactly. And then I spent the next 45 minutes signing papers.
It also smells like this like distinct of like antiseptic, old people, and death. And
like nothing human.
And blood. Like just like a slight amount of like iodine and blood. Yes. Yeah. Just so a repair shop, really.
Honestly,
like
it's like a body shop.
Yeah.
That's literally what it is. So like I go in.
People's.
What?
For people's.
It's a people's body shop.
Yeah.
So like I go in there and it's just so cold and not welcoming or warm at all. And I thought to myself, I'm not generally like a super anxious person, and I wasn't really anxious about getting surgery. Like I was pretty chill about it. But I did feel a little bit of anxiety because of how non-warm the experience was, that I thought to myself, if I was really scared about this is where I have a full-blown panic attack. Because you feel so alone, and with COVID, they won't allow anyone in. So the whole experience is very lonely.
Did they wheel you in through the hallway on the gurney? Like to the operating room?
Yes.
But you're like you're like on the wheelie bed?
We'll get into that. Okay. So, I'm sitting there and then they're just making me sign papers like I'm going into a body shop, and they're like, oh, just so you know, we're going to redo the hubcap. So like,
liability releases.
And I just felt weird to be like put in that position to where you're signing papers while you're in like a hairnet and a smock. It just felt like, shouldn't this be done before? So that the experience is kind of warm and nice. It's like you're literally like on a slab of meat, and then they're just like, cool, if we kill you, you're not going to sue us, right? Cool. If I take this shot in your neck, you're not going to, and you get nerve damage and die, you're going to be okay, right? Cool. Like you're just signing away your life, and what are you going to say? No. You know what I mean? At this point, you're already there, so you're already signing away everything. It's very weird. And then, everyone's very just like, good to see you. All right, here's what we're going to do. Like nothing's like, hey, like there's nothing warm and nice about it at all. So there was two nurses. One was like old school OG. You could tell she had like pins and a headband. You could just tell she was like been there forever.
She had some flair.
She had flair. And when someone has flair, it's like they've been in the game a long time. So she had flair. Other one was not flair at all. Young. So she goes to give me
She probably hates the flair lady.
Well, no, it was like clearly she's just kind of younger and like training to some extent and like new to the game. So she goes to give me an IV.
Okay.
All I hear is, and then I feel blood running down my hands and dripping. And then, so she does it out of sight. And then I like to look when people give me shots or IVs. I like to look at it for some reason. I just like, it makes me feel better when I could see it going in versus like blind. And she's like, you don't have to look. And I was like, it's okay. She's like, no, you don't have to look. And I was like, okay. So I look away. I hear splatter, and I feel the blood on my hands. And she's just fooling around for a second. She goes, can someone help? So then a nurse comes in and she goes, oh. That's all I hear is, oh. And then they're both like on the ground, like literally getting towels and like wiping things up. And then I heard the other nurse goes, oh, you can go ahead and change. I'll take care of this. So like whatever she did with the vein, like exploded. And like blood was everywhere.
I would have definitely looked, and I probably would have fainted.
Yeah, so I'm literally going like, don't look, because it's clearly like a murder scene over here. Like we have multiple nurses with bath towels.
You're just like, it's better if I don't.
Yeah, and then like one nurse is having to change. Like when there's so much blood, you have to change, dude. You have to get new clothes. So then I'm like sitting there, like, she goes, after like everybody cleans up and changes.
Well, how nervous were you? Like how high was your blood pressure?
No,
Maybe you were just Maybe you thought you were good and you were just pumping so hard.
Maybe
she punctured it. And just
well, she did the tourniquet too. You know what I mean? So she had that sucker was like the Nile. You know, it was like the river.
You could have been really nervous, dude.
That could have been, but I was chilling.
You fell asleep. Been like 1:15, just like
that's totally true. So anyway, blood splatter, and then she comes back in fully changed, and she goes, "Wow, well, thank you for your vein. It was very effective." I was like, "You're welcome." You know, and then guy comes in, whatever, we do the whole thing. And then, so then it's like, it's just a cold environment. I just thought to myself, man, they could make this with a couple small tweaks so much better.
What would you change?
First of all, I would have had like blankets that were warm. I'd have a bed that's slightly wider and longer. So I just didn't feel like I was like, you know, you just feel like your arms are hanging off, your legs are hanging off. It just feels very like, this is the minimal amount of coverage they need. And it just didn't feel comfy. I just feel like they got to set you up to be a little bit more comfy and been a little bit more nice about everything and a little bit more just like, hey, what's up, man? You know, like cracking jokes. And I could have just been getting like the like deadpan people, you know what I mean? Because I did hear some people across the way that were getting a little bit more like fun action, but it just felt very cold, you know. And I kind of found out later why they were a little cold. But so you know, they're getting all prepped, and he starts telling me all the things he's gonna do. And then he gives me like a little shot of whatever. Basically, he's like, this is going to make you basically be drunk. And I was cool. It gets a shot. I kind of feeling drunk a little bit. Then they wheel you in to the operating table. And I knew I was getting a little drunk because I don't remember getting to the operating table. Mm-hmm. I just remember like all of a sudden I was in the room. And I was like, whoa. And then you literally feel like a slab of meat. Because there's like 14 people in there just bustling. And no one's even looking you in the eye or anything. You're just like number 14 on the like deli meat, you know? So he's like, all right, you're going to be, we're going to give you the medicine here. And then you wake up and then it's out of surgery. You know what I mean? So, you know, I get out of surgery and I'm messed up. Like I'm literally just like, what's happening?
Did your throat hurt?
No, because of that whole thing. He told me it might, but it didn't. So I was expecting it to hurt because of like how the tube down the throat. It didn't hurt.
I had that once.
I've heard some people get messed up.
God, dude, my throat was like on fire, and they kept having to bring me crushed ice so I could just hold it like against the back of my throat. I like couldn't talk, and like breathing and swallowing hurt too. Yeah. I was just like, and they kept like giving me like this spray to numb the back of my throat because it was so bad.
The way they pushed it down, it like caught a bunch of edges.
Dude, it was just fucked. So even now thinking about it,
worst feeling ever.
The worst.
So, and it could be the fact that you got, you know, surgery here, so maybe they had to do more intense
stuff. And this
was
a totally different one when I was younger.
Oh, got it. So, anyway, so I'm coming out, and you know, first off, don't tell me stuff I need to know when I'm absolutely blackout hammered.
What did you need to know?
Well, they're just telling me stuff. Okay, make sure you do this. Make sure you do this.
Oh yeah, like they just give you a list of instructions.
Yeah, but then they're also like kind of walking me through things, and then I'm trying to like, what? Okay, I'll make sure I do that, and then like 3 seconds later, I'm going, what do I do? You know what I mean? Because I'm just completely high. So there's two things I do remember though is one is Jess texted me because she hadn't heard from the doctors because it had gone like 45 minutes longer than they thought. So then she's kind of scared. She's like, no one's called me. So she just texts me and goes, hey, let me know if, you know, you're out or whatever. You need me to pick you up. So I text her back, and it was so funny because later on I look at the text and it's like, bro, barely legible. And I'm just like, here in house ready minutes. You know what I mean? Like it was just like nothing made. So my brain was just completely separated.
It's me, Robot Evan.
Yeah, honestly.
The surgery went well.
It was literally that. So then I remember this. I don't remember what I said, but my brother FaceTimed me. Because he thought I was getting surgery in the morning. So he thought he was FaceTiming me much later in the day. I pick up, apparently. And I talked to him for like 30 minutes. And I don't remember what I said to him, but I remember just being on with him and hearing nurses laughing. Because I was like, apparently like talking shit about people in there. Like I was just like joking around, making cracks, like, you know what I mean? Just being like comedic with him. People are laughing, and then he's on the phone apparently laughing to the point where I text him like a day later. I'm like, bro, did we talk? He goes, bro, best conversation I've ever had by a mile. funniest time ever. Like he just was like, bro, it was like talking to like an insane person. So that happens, and I'm still just so messed up, you know. But each 10 minutes or so, I'm like coming to. And then the nurse, I get switched out with a different nurse. The OG cool flare lady's gone, and I get kind of this like cranky older lady. She comes in, and she's just not very friendly at all. And she's like, you know, you're our last patient. And I was like, what? She's like, you're our last patient. I was like, cool. So it's, you know, if you're feeling ready to go, it's time to get you out of here. We're all ready to go home. Like she literally said that to me. Like you know when you're in a restaurant, you've stayed too long, and they're kind of like, is there anything else I can get you? No? Okay. Lights are on. Like, Get the fuck out. That was the vibe she gave me. Was just like, when are you leaving? And so then she starts asking me like, well, what do you do for a living? You know? And it wasn't like in a friendly way. It was kind of like in an investigatory way. And I was like, music director, I'm in music. And she's like, I know a guy who was in music. And she says this guy's name. And this was a close old friend of mine. So the chances were wild. And I go, what? Oh, you know him? I'm like, oh, how's he? And she just goes, financially independent. And I go, what? Like, I knew what she was saying because this friend of mine, like most people in like crazy pyramid schemes, they're normal, and then they get into this world, and then they aren't friends with any of their friends anymore because they're like, I need to be around people with like-minded mentalities, and like I can't be around losers anymore or whatever. So he became that guy where he was like, he just cut his friendships all off at the knees, and then like only became friends with those people. And she goes, well, he's financially independent. And I was like, what? Oh, cool. And she goes, yeah, he's doing very well in the business, and it's really exciting. And I said this to her, and I didn't even realize I said this until after, when I was recollecting. I said, oh, are you into all that crap too? Because I was too high to like have like decorum.
So proud of you.
I just go, are you into that crap too?
And what'd she say? And
she goes, well, actually I am. And I go, but you're still working? So I go like, oh, but you're still working?
Yeah.
And she, you know, and then she kind of gives me the like, well, you know, that's a part of the journey. We're working on it. And then she kind of starts telling, well, what's your deal? Like, are you financially independent? And I was just like, what? Like, I work. You know, she's like, oh, well. She starts kind of like massaging the idea of just being like, well, you know, I mean, you have a family. You know, it's good to spend more time with them. You shouldn't be working too much. And trying to kind of convince me to start listening to her.
And sign you up.
And I just thought to myself, like, dude, I'm high out of my mind post-surgery, and you're kind of seeing if I'm a lead. And I just thought, like, that is entirely the problem with people in pyramid schemes. Is like, you're no longer a human being to them. You are a possible sale.
Mm-hmm.
And also, how weird is it that like, this isn't like her mom, you know, my friend's mom or anything, but like, imagine if I was like, hey, how's your friend, you know, Carrie? And you're like, oh, she's good. She just invested in a property. Like, that would be a very weird thing to say for me asking about how's a friend doing. You know what I mean? You'd be like, whoa. I mean, like, does she have kids, and is she happy? And like, what is she doing in life? You know what I mean? I'm like, what a weird thing to bring up as like, that's what's important when I ask how someone's doing, is like their finances. Not like they started a business, not like, oh, they built a thing, not they're being creative, not they're contributing to something. Just literally like, oh, this is their financial situation right now. So good.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what a weird, like, have you lost your mind that you like, all that matters is just like what your finances are doing? Like, what about being a human being?
Says that if you're thinking about that, it seems like you don't think about finances, Evan.
I think about finances all the time. It's just more like, that's not something you talk about when you talk about how someone's doing, unless someone's like really bad. They're like, yo, they lost the house, they're on the street, we got to help them.
Yeah.
But if it's, you know what I mean?
No, I definitely...
But like, financial independence isn't something that like you ask when someone else is doing. Like you say,
That
oh, they built that
phrase-
thing, or they did. It's a weird thing to say.
That phrase is really triggering too, because it's like so MLM, like culty. It's used so often in that way of like, this term financial independence.
Yeah, and you wouldn't say that if you, and this, I don't know this woman. So it's also a weird thing to say about someone that I haven't seen in years, and I don't know the person talking about them. Like you wouldn't say, if I didn't know you and you asked how this random friend of mine was, and he goes, oh, how is he? And I go, oh, he's good. He's bought multiple properties recently, which are bringing in very good income for him. And because of that, he has to work less hours. Like, that's a very weird thing to bring. Like, what?
But
that's like what it's saying to someone. It's like going into specific detail about their financial situation when I ask how you're doing. And I'm not asking the person, I'm asking someone about the person. It's just fucking weird.
so that is where this is now the common ground of our weekends, is I weaponized that feeling. And I used it to fret off an annoying person at the bar. And I gave them a fake MLM pitch when they kept coming up and talking to me. And I asked them.
That's like a get away from me vibe.
Pretty much. And they came up and I said, are you financially independent?
I like that.
They were like, what? And I was like, let's talk about your financial independence. Would you like to be financially independent, working part-time, earning a full-time salary? They were like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I was like, if you give me $1,500, you can be financially secure. And they just like walked away. And every time they came up, I just kept saying the same thing, like a different iteration of that. And it became more and more humorous, but also it had that exact same thing of like, these are like so off-putting. Like when you
it's
hear
the most
someone talk about
off-putting
that,
thing ever.
you're just instantly like, no. You just turn around. No matter what your motive was, no matter what the impetus, it's just like an absolute buzzkill.
What if he would have said, I am interested? You would have had to come up with like some real shit.
That's when I would have been like, dude, I don't actually have a way to do this. Or if I was,
what if he would have been like, really?
It really depends on the mood that I'm in, how many drinks I've had, how many friends are around me to bolster up the confidence. If I were to give like an actual fake pitch at that point, if they had said, yeah, I'm interested, it would have been like, all right, what's like a fucking quantity of things I can like get this person to buy for $1,500?
Yeah.
Just in my head. It would have been like manila folders, like some kind of office supply. That's what comes to my mind right now. I had a friend in the water. We were surfing and I was talking to him. He was about like his job and he was like talking about how he was just trying to come up with like creative things to do during COVID. And he was researching like these low ticket items. They're low ticket to source, but they sell at a high price point. And they're like these weird items that there's only a couple of listers on Amazon. So it would become like a really easy thing to go competitive in. And one of them was large sized whiteboards.
Sure. That Amazon thing's been big over the pandemic. Everybody like selling random shit on Amazon to make a bunch of money.
Talking to me for real about like investing thousands of dollars into buying like an upfront stock of like 4x6 foot whiteboards.
And then you resell them
and then become an
Yeah.
Amazon vendor and resell them. And I was like, that's really interesting.
That's what a lot of people do. It's like drop shipping and all that stuff. It's just get rich quick schemes. That's what they're trying to do.
Next time I saw him, I asked him about it because I was like, this is so wild. I just was like, this is a wild way to go. And I was like, did you ever end up doing the whiteboard shit? And he was like, no, I did not do that.
Okay, broads, interrupting the bros here. Listen, medical professionals are undeniably superheroes. They deserve a uniform suited for the incredible work that they do day in and day out. And yes, I know scrubs are kind of mandatory, but they don't have to be the boxy, itchy cotton things most of us are familiar with. Figs has set out to make awesome scrubs suited for the awesome humans working in healthcare, and they've done a pretty amazing job.
Oh, ask anybody that wears scrubs on the job that what the most important thing is. They will say that they need to be functional, and that's where Figs really shines. Also, talk to anybody in the healthcare profession. They're going to be like, I love Figs. Seriously. I have multiple nurse friends. They're like, no, Figs, all the way, all day, every day. They've created modern scrubs with a focus on design and comfort, but the main focus has always been function. So their proprietary 4-way stretch fabrics makes Figs ridiculously soft, but because their fabric has antimicrobial technology, they're also moisture wicking, they're anti-wrinkle, and anti-odor, and Figs are available in ton of different staples and fabric weights, and some Figs even have 20 pockets.
If you're not sure where to start, check out their core collection. They never go out of stock or out of style, and they're available in a ton of different colors that can be mixed and matched whenever you need a quick wardrobe refresh. Pretty much every medical office I've been in the last few years, their team, they're all in Figs, okay? From my dog's vet to my esthetician's office, they're all decked out in Figs, from the front reception to the doctors, and it's no wonder they look so good and they feel so good.
Figs believes the awesome humans in healthcare deserve scrubs that match. Head to wearfigs.com and use code ChattyBroads to get 15% off your first order. That's WEARFIGS.com, code ChattyBroads for 15% off your first order.
My best friend at one point, like right after college, when we were just, doing whatever, no one really had like career wasn't on their mind. It was like the thing of like, I'm just going to do whatever for a couple of years. And then like,
After college,
yeah.
Wow.
Just get a job where you're like, I'm just trying to get a job that gets me out.
Got it.
And just be like, and have fun with my friends a little bit. 'Cause so many of us, anyway, whatever. We were like, that was kind of our thing. We were all kind of working like, I was trying to act at the time, so I couldn't have like too serious a job.
Sure, because you had to be like at a moment's notice go to
retail or service industry or something like that, and something flexible. And he's like, dude, I'm gonna flip game cubes. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And he's like, bro, I'm telling you. He's like, every time he's like, I'm on eBay and I'm on these like after sale market sites, and he's like, these things are going for like whatever. And he's like, he was buying them off of the Goodwill marketplace, because Goodwill has an online thing. And he's like, I can get these for like $45 off Goodwill. And he goes, I'm seeing them going all day, like $100, $120 on eBay. This fool buys like 8 of these things. Can't sell one of them.
Of course.
Can't sell one. Can't even sell them for the price he bought them for. He couldn't, he's telling me, he goes, I don't get it, man. He goes, I'm doing all the same things these guys are doing. He goes, I literally am making like identical posts. He goes, I see them listing theirs. It seems like they're selling theirs. It seems like they're selling them. He goes, but I can't seem to sell mine. And I was just dying. This fool would slide open his closet door. And just, mind you, the GameCube is already like 15 years old at this point. He's selling like old game
but
consoles.
It's also not old enough to be vintage, so it's like this, it's just outdated.
I was dying over like of all the schemes. I was like,
and it's like a scheme to make $50. You know what I mean?
It was so funny to me. Yeah, it wasn't like scalping tickets.
It wasn't like a scheme to make
legit one.
Yeah, right.
If you are trying to make like a few $100,
right,
set your timer, buy one of those like sellout concerts, buy like
Coachella,
5 tickets,
sell it for
flip
$1,000 more, whatever. Yeah.
That shit works.
It would totally works, but it does make me laugh.
The only one that works like that is selling drugs. That's like the only tried and true one is when you're like, look, like I'll spend $300 up front.
We know that this will move.
I'll get to keep this amount for myself for my own use, and I'm gonna make $100. So it's just like perfect. And I'll be able to do it all over again.
And people will never not want it. So
and you don't really have to do much. You just like call a couple people and you're like, hey, like if you ever need somewhere to get this, like I have it now.
Right.
They're like, great.
Right. Fantastic.
So convenient. So convenient.
So how was the wedding?
The wedding it's honestly one of the better weddings I've ever been to.
Wow.
Which makes me want to ask you about, we should definitely talk on top. I think like wedding experience is what we think makes a good one because it's very nuanced, I think, between good weddings and bad weddings. I completely agree. Weedings. We'll weed them out.
Are different, but so they're just as important.
This was a destination wedding. Always fun. This was in Mendocino, California.
By the way, love Mendocino Farms, the restaurant. Fantastic sandwiches.
This place is as beautiful as the restaurant is good.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Phenomenal.
Fantastic.
It's a very gorgeous town. It's a very cute haunted dollhouse vibe on the coast. And then, yeah, like sort of like
Central
Salem
California.
Witch, sort of like Salem Witch vibes, but on the,
but
like not like just a lot of people died. It just feels like it's been there. It just
There's a
feels
lot
haunted.
of spirits. There's a haunting vibe.
A lot of graveyards in a very small area. Very beautiful, though. Very beautiful.
Is this Central California? Where
Yeah.
is this? Okay.
It was slated to be sunny, and then it started to rain. And this seemed like
Rain's
maybe
good
not
luck,
a good
though,
thing.
right?
Well, so this was a smaller wedding, and it's with like a group of friends. It's not necessarily known for partying or dancing or those things. They had a dance floor, and in my mind, I was like, no one's going to be on the dance
It's
floor.
going to be brutal. Yeah.
The weather got so cold, though. We all had to huddle under the tarp for warmth. Dance floor's right in the center of that. Everybody danced
Love it.
the whole time. So that made it really fun. A lot of high energy there. It seemed like the right amount. It really, everything fit the people who were doing it. That was good. I gave a best man speech.
Amazing.
Crushed it.
Crushed it. Love that.
Absolutely crushed it, actually. That was a fun feeling. It was a fun moment.
Incredible.
Altogether, it was a very good time. We had a good after party at the locals bar.
Sick.
That's when I was getting endlessly harassed by this person in the bar, and I gave my MLM speech.
Love it. Worked perfect. Worked
Good
like a
time.
charm.
Even Becca was me and Becca were both drinking together, which is rare.
Yeah, she usually doesn't drink.
Invited everyone who was at the bar back to our hotel room.
Wow, classic wedding
Oh
move.
my gosh,
to all
Becca.
end up in a in someone's room is like a classic young 20s wedding move.
Here's Becca drinking though. She's like, the caterers at the wedding are coming around with pizzas, and I'm like, no, I don't want any slice of pizza. She's like, dummy, we're going to a bar. She goes, excuse me, we'll take the whole pizza. Just me and Becca. She, meanwhile, throughout the course of the night, eats all the toppings
Classic.
off the pizza. No one else really wanted any, and she just like slowly,
So now it's just bread.
you'd open it up and you'd see these pieces of bread with like the teeth channels of like gnawing off just the
And you're kind of like,
toppings.
maybe I do want a piece, and it's just bread.
And she's like, everybody go back to our room. And she's
We
just
have
like
pizza.
gnawing the cheese off the pizza.
Oh, because of her diet, her special diet, she can't have the bread.
I guess, yeah. Or she was just like,
Just
I'm not going to
cheese
eat
sounded
all the
good.
bread for a whole pizza.
Oh my god,
So funny, dude.
dude, that's
was
fun though. That is fun.
It was a really good time. And they just have a beautiful drive back down like the PCH along that coastline.
Do
was
you like
good.
weddings in general?
I do. I'm a sucker for weddings.
Me too. I love weddings.
They're so happy. That's why I was, dude. I had a lot of fun giving the best man speech.
Got it.
'Cause you can't help-
you love a good speech too. So
I love a good speech.
if there's an opportunity for Grayston to get on a pedestal and speak, it is
How do you
dream
know
come true.
this?
First of all, you'll do it here. Second of all, you've talked about how you're a good speaker, and you talked about how you like waxing.
I do.
So it's perfect. It's perfect.
I do.
Did you write out a speech or did you kind of wing it?
Becca and I talked. I had been thinking about like a handful of directions I'd wanted to go just in my head. And then while we were driving, she took some notes for me. And then our room had a sauna in it, which was cool. So I spent some time in the sauna before the wedding, compiled, like organized those thoughts. And then Alec, my best friend, who was actually the GameCube, the guy who tried to sell the GameCubes.
Got it.
We were both best men. So he had to give a speech too.
Two best men.
So yeah, that was part of his speech. He is a stand-up comedian. He was doing that.
Oh, I know Alec. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's hilarious.
So me and
I
him
love
were
that
having
guy.
to compare each other's notes and compare like what are the
like
jokes.
let's not say the same
Don't
thing
tell
about
the
the same
same
story.
jokes.
Yeah.
What is the perspective you're taking on this? So we were comparing them, and then it was funny because he was like, "No, like you should definitely go after me on yours," because I had the nice little
You know,
tempo
our good
of
arc.
like, it was really well. I was like, I would have an emotional moment, and I legit started crying in the speech.
Oh, that's perfect.
I was talking
Cue tears.
about how we were just kids. I was like, we've all been friends for 24 years.
Oh, okay.
So I was like-
this was like an OG friend when you were a kid.
And Alec brought that up. We all met in the 3rd grade.
Wow.
And so we were kind of talking about that. And I was like, no, seriously though, like we've all been friends. Like there's like, it feels like yesterday we were kids, you know? And I just like paused and I literally started crying. And I was a whole joke built off that. And I was like, I put in my notes to cry there. But it hit me where I was like, I was legit crying. And I was like,
Were you gonna fake cry?
I wasn't gonna fake cry. I knew I would be like, I knew I could sound emotional, but I was like legit crying.
Wait, hold on. So you were gonna though fake if the tears didn't
Anytime I
naturally
thought about
come,
it-
you were gonna I just
Anytime I know, it was effortless because anytime I thought about that as being like, I've known these guys for 24 years, like
You'd
we're
feel
getting
it
the
come
best
up,
man.
so you knew it was
feel
gonna
it come up.
come.
So I was like, oh, it's going to come up where I could get choked up.
But I do
But
like
I
how you
wasn't
outline.
expecting like legit. Oh yeah, it was in my note to cry.
And I most likely will get choked up here.
Most likely this is gonna be choked up. So I'm gonna build off that emotional. I'm gonna build off that crescendo. And I segued into freaking like I was tearing up and I was going, no, seriously, it feels like just yesterday that we were helping our mothers around the house. Oh no, I said that we were hitting the books. Just kids hitting the books and helping our mothers around the house. And I was like choking back tears as I was saying this. It'd be like that we were volunteering and doing community service projects.
Like we all know you weren't.
That shit brought the house down,
Yeah.
dude. That was just done.
Love it.
Their moms,
Because they knew like you guys are full of shit. You guys were the worst kind of thing.
Just like everyone knew. I mean,
just knew when we were helping at the orphanage and we're like, we know you guys were
like
just high.
Alec was telling all like these, ridiculous stories from us as kids. And then I'm coming up being like, no, like us, we were hitting the books,
right,
crying about it. And then I had like the nice burns. It was just good, dude.
Amazing.
It was good. It was a nice, when you give speeches at parties like that, people are also, it's the easiest place to make someone laugh.
Well, they're wanting to.
Because of me and you were in the crowd and we're just like, oh my God, like they're so in love and they're so happy.
And you
like,
want to laugh, so you're ready and like
and
you're
we're all
ready to give it to them.
drinking and we're all like, everyone's just like ready to go and they want it to be good.
Totally.
There's nothing worse than a shit wedding speech.
Well, it's interesting, but I also think that a lot of people aren't, gifted in that way. Like I've done a couple of best man speeches and it's like, I think me and you can chat and we can write a good like conversational piece and write a good arc to a story, whatever. But like a lot of people like, they're very nervous. Like I remember like doing my best man speeches and just being like, all right, it's gonna be good. And the guy next to me who's doing like the uncle speech or like the other or the maid of honor speech is just sweating bullets. Terrified.
I was freaking out, dude.
You were scared.
I was terrified.
Really?
Yeah, because I was like, I don't know if they're going to take it in the way of like it being endearing or if they're going to be like.
I'm shocked we do this every week. I'm shocked you'd be afraid.
Well, because it's also like you're roasting someone.
So you want
a little bit.
you want to make sure
but
that there's a nice
because the
balance.
best man speech is supposed to be funny. You have like your endearing moments, but the best
you got to go
it's
endearing, funny, real, roast. You got to have all those elements.
Exactly. You have to touch on all these things and it has to end on like a really serious, like she's the best, like she's the most important person in your life, like kind of a thing. And then you end it on a high, happy note,
Sure.
of like, and get busy making kids, like that kind of stuff.
Sure.
That's exactly how best man's supposed to go to me. That's like the movie approach.
Of course. Yeah.
But if you see someone like, I think if anyone puts any amount of effort into the wedding speech, that translates and all is forgiven.
But I think a lot of people get locked up with the idea and then they just kind of like write out some basic like, and you've always been a great friend to me. Remember that one time we went to the strip club? Anyway, it gets really awkward and like, yeah.
Those are great though at the same time.
Great, but you're laughing at them, not with them. It's like bad karaoke,
Mm-hmm.
But that's fun though. I love a good wedding, dude. Like even I went to a wedding recently that wasn't even like, I didn't know anybody. It was like Jess knew someone and I had a blast.
What made it such a blast?
Well, okay, let's get into like wedding stuff.
Yeah.
Because this is debatable and I really feel like people miss this. Like what it takes to have a good wedding.
Okay.
Because me and you, I'm sure been to many weddings. And I'm sure you've been to some extravagant ones from where you were raised and grew up in like families and stuff. And I'm sure you've been to some absolute backyard burners that like broke kid ones. You know what I mean? I'm sure we've been to all types and I have as well. And I do feel like there's lessons to be learned because of times had at each wedding. The one thing I've found is that money doesn't really matter.
No.
Unless you are lacking in a lot of areas. So like if you're not going to have what I think are important, then it better be fucking bougie. You know what I mean? Like it better be like rich. Then you can kind of get away with a lot with missing all the good shit. So it's like if the hors d'oeuvres and the private chefs and the wine is amazing and the environment's gorgeous.
If you have a raw bar.
Exactly. If there's just extreme wealth, then at least you can kind of get away with like not doing any of the good stuff that we're going to get into.
I've never, any time that there's a free raw bar, I remember every single opportunity I've ever had to have unlimited raw seafood.
Exactly. Stuff like
So
that.
just like oysters and
You're
king
like, well,
crab legs and stuff.
if everyone's going to be stuck up and weird, I might as well just eat this amazing
It's a
food.
highlight for me. I'm just like, whatever. I don't give a fuck. I don't know anyone here,
For
but
me,
I've
it's-
had 25 oysters and like fucking 12 crab legs.
For me, it's food and booze. If it's going to be a bad wedding, it's like, all right, well, might as well get drunk and just eat all this food.
yeah.
You know, oh yes, I will have another one of those things. You know, I'll just bring up. I'll start with one
Free beer.
thing that I think
Free
is
alcohol.
super important. Free booze, yeah. Free booze is
Thank
one,
you.
and it doesn't have to
That's
be nice.
number one.
So it doesn't have to be high-end champagne
Just
and really
free.
nice cocktails. It's just make it free. You could do
And lots of it.
a bucket of beers, a bucket of seltzers, $2 chuck from Trader Joe's. Just
You could just do like some kegs.
kegs.
Do it like
spend
treat it like a college party. Literally have just like some random handles. Let people pour their own alcohol.
whatever it is. Buy just bottle of Costco booze, like whatever it is. Like if you're broke and you're trying to throw a fun wedding, don't just make sure that one of your key priorities is that everyone's drinking endlessly as much as they want and having a good time.
Yeah.
Like that's numero.
Even if you're broke, just steal the alcohol so you can have it at your wedding for free for your guests. They'll thank you later.
When you were to think about it, if you were to be, oh, okay, how much would it cost? Like if we were going to have a wedding, right? We know a wedding's going to cost money. So you have to save some money to like have a wedding that you'd be like, okay, let's put this amount of money into like a massive bucket of beers, a massive bucket of seltzers, a bottle of vodka, a couple of vodka, whatever. And it's like a couple $100 and you're there, you know?
I
It's
just
like,
had like a great National Lampoon movie idea.
what?
Should be like your best friend's super like his wife's super wealthy. He's like, his job's supposed to take it up, took or whatever, but he's in debt, doesn't have any, but they're supposed to pay for the wedding or whatever. They're wait like, cause and a relative's supposed to provide it. It's all taken care of. Like the cash, but it all falls through. And him and his like broke friends are supposed
Throw
to
the
put
wedding.
on the whole wedding. They have to figure out all the catering, all the entertainment, all the alcohol, all this stuff. But they threw parties in college on no budget all the time. And they have to take that approach to throwing a super sick wedding for an affluent crowd.
Yes.
And then they have to do things like, you know, however, they're going to have to figure it out.
Right.
They're going to have to figure out how they're going to do all of it. But that was my National Lampoon idea.
I love that idea.
when we were
It's
just
a great
talking about
idea.
this.
And the concept of this also is
If any of you are writers, you can have
you
the
guys,
idea.
you guys can go ahead and have that. Just cut us in.
You're
to
welcome.
A point or two. Because I remember Jimmy Fox talking about this. He talked about like how he beat P. Diddy's party with like $500 because P. Diddy had this thing called the White Party that was like millions of dollars and it was
Yeah.
like really famous, right? And he says I rivaled that party with $500
How did he do
because
that?
his whole concept was like right people and booze and food, not about having the thing made out of ice. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Not like having where you pour your drink down the ice sculpture and then it's cold at the end. Like that's not the stuff that people are going to remember.
No.
So free booze. By
Although
the way,
that
this
is cool. The booze, the
Sure.
shoot, whatever
It's
those are.
fun, but it's not like vital
No.
to a good time.
No.
Okay, so let's call this the bros wedding guide.
Yeah.
Okay, free booze doesn't have to be expensive, nice, nothing. Just has to be free.
Mm-hmm.
Could be cheapest of the cheap, but just make it free and easy to access for everyone to have a good time. Okay, number one.
2 for me
Okay.
is appetizers.
Okay,
Because
again, doesn't
everyone's-
have to be expensive.
It doesn't have to be
Could
expensive.
be pigs in a blanket.
But dude, you could have chips.
Chips,
I don't
guac,
care
chips
what
and
it is.
guac.
People are awkwardly standing around waiting for the reception to start, and they're having. You need to have You need to have drinks before the
Yes.
reception as
Loosen
well.
people up so they're chilling.
Loosen them up and give them something to snack on. Peanuts, chips, whatever, like bar food.
Dude, chips,
Who the fuck
salsa,
cares?
guac.
Dude, if I have an outdoor wedding, I want everyone to have like, I mean, if it wouldn't kill Becca, but like bar peanuts, if they could just shell peanuts
Sure.
through the wedding, like at a ball game, that'd be sick.
Basic food doesn't have to be the like high end,
No.
whatever.
But just snacks and pre-drinks before the I-dos, before the ceremony, before the bride walks out and stuff. People can be snacking
100%.
and having little anxiety drinks. They'll be super happy about it. And
By the time
anxiety
they're
snacking.
by the time they're in the
Yeah.
The reception, not reception, but the ceremony.
The ceremony.
They're already just kind of relaxed and cheering
and super light, so no one ruins their appetite.
Yes.
We're not talking breads. Okay, we're not talking heavy breads at this point. But my friends had a charcuterie board.
Perfect.
It was indeed
Amazing.
meats and cheese.
Chill.
It was phenomenal. It was
I
what
love
needed
that.
to happen.
So, okay, so we got free booze. So you like some appetizers. I like that.
Yeah, they had margaritas and like that stuff going.
Love
It was like,
that. Chill.
fuck yeah.
Short ceremony.
Very.
Don't give me this 45-minute pastors up there trying to like preach you the gospel, okay? What we need is about 15 minutes.
The last thing you need is one of the people, like one of your bridesmaids or your grooms, fainting on there because they're standing with their legs locked.
Which has happened at my sister's wedding.
That's a common thing, dude. Unless you have like, I remember that was when I was in middle school choir. They explained that to us.
They're
it was
like,
the
you will
first
pass
time
out.
They're straight up, and some kid did. And
Especially if
they're like,
it's an
some kid
outdoor wedding and it's
always
warm.
does. They're like, don't. You're like, you're going to be up here for a while. You need to know how to do it.
So 15-minute wedding.
Yeah.
You go up, everyone comes in, and you go bam, bam, boom. I love you, bam, bam, bam. They walk out, cheers, and now everyone's ready for the rest of the night. They're not tired. They're not like, geez, my back hurts. Man, I don't know anybody. This is awkward. You know what I mean? It's like, it's over.
Let me ask you this. Have you ever been to a wedding where one of the, like someone's best friend is the officiant? Like, have you ever been to a wedding where it's not like a best friend who's the officiant?
It's all for me. It's always been like some sort of religious figure, or if it wasn't a religious figure, it was like my mentor, or like my therapist was one, or like. But no,
I would love to have just some random person,
but not like friend. It's generally been like.
Really?
I mean, I've definitely had that, but like in general, most weddings I've ever been to, the person is like, this guy is my. He's my hero. He kind of like was the guy he was like the guy who helped me with all my this. He was my therapist, or she was my therapist, or my pastor, or my priest, or some sort of like figurehead, but not just like my buddy Jared. You know what I mean?
Oh, all my friends have been like one of their best friends.
Oh, I mean, it's happened.
That's
like
been
Jess
the
did a
officiant.
wedding not too long ago for a friend. So like it happens, but in general, what I've found is like those weddings are a lot more low key. Like the friend doing it that I've experienced is always like, oh, we've got 10 people and we threw together a wedding, and it's just kind of like I married my friends once in a cave in Malibu.
Wow.
Yeah, but again, there was like 5 of us. You know what I mean? It was just really chill.
Did you get certified?
Yeah, I by the Church of whatever online.
Then you got to say, by the power vested in me by the state of California.
100%.
It's a powerful line.
Yeah, me and Jess have both married people.
You have vested power.
Me and Jess both have vested power by the Universal
It's a powerful
Church.
house.
We're very strong.
You got to battle the ghosts with that.
Yeah.
By the power vested in me by the state of California, I command you, ghosts, quit waking up Ember.
with the shit. Okay, so we got short ceremony, hors d'oeuvres, booze. Next
is none of this like lounging around, meandering bullshit. Sit them down. Ceremony's over, ladies and gentlemen. It's dinner time. Get to your tables. Bada bing. Everybody get to their tables. And if you're going to be doing like, orders of like, hey, this table first, then this table, which I understand the cafeteria buffet line thing. It just burns people who aren't first. And it always takes an hour for everyone to return to their seat. If you're going to do it, have multiple stations of all the same things.
Got it.
Have at least 2.
So I got to
That way
disagree with you a
it's
little
not
bit. I do
expensive.
not think people should be eating after they've just sat.
What do you think?
I think there should be a good 45 minutes of like, you're getting more booze in your system. You're eating the hors d'oeuvres. You're hanging out. You're meeting you're seeing, because everyone's creeping into the ceremony.
Wasn't she loved?
You know what I mean? Everyone creeps into the ceremony. So after the ceremony, you kind of need to catch up with your
And
old
you
buddy.
do need to
you know what I mean?
meander.
So you gotta hang.
do need to shake it down a little bit.
You need to, what's up, dude? Because like
That's
he came in
true.
late and you didn't hang, you know what I mean? So now
Or
if you're
someone you haven't seen for years.
Exactly.
And you're like, man, you live out in Europe.
But again, it's back to the food. Keep the food simple. Again, these are not like tips to be like, you got to have a lot of money to do it. This is just keep the food tasty and simple. Keep the booze flowing. Keep the ceremony quick.
No, and here's the thing with wedding food too is while it's fun to have a fancy wedding course and be like, ooh, it's only fun if it's actually any good. And if you're getting catering, most of the time they don't really do like fancy food very fucking good. Like large scale salmon fillets, to me, as example, never really are that great.
You can go simple with it.
I think if it's gonna be as long as it's gonna be good, that's what people care about most. I want to eat the whole plate
like
of food.
Do tacos, do like basic stuff.
Simple shit,
keep it simple. Dude. Don't worry about doing something fancy.
No
high end chicken Milanese with the. It's like no, just make it simple.
Do
man.
like barbecue.
Yeah, just make it simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, mac and cheese barbecue would be fire.
So good. If I went to a wedding and they were like,
just
oh yeah,
ribs.
so by the way, that's what you have for dinner. I'd be like, holy shit.
This is amazing.
Incredible. Just like.
So keep it simple.
Thank you. Because they all want to be like, oh, you're in suits, we're fork and knives. Like, give everyone some bibs. And a
crab legs.
Give them all a trash bag to like cover their suit in.
Right.
And then, some big gloves and just, go to town. Bunch of hammers and some crab legs. Although that's not on the cheap end.
That's not, no. But
that would be so much fun.
I mean, even just like cool hot dogs with like nice toppings, whatever. It's like, it's
I love
all good.
hot dogs.
So here's another thing. So keep the speeches minimal. Like we got best man, and we got best man, maid of honor, mom and dad. We don't need the second best friend. We don't need the uncles. We don't need the open mics. Like keep it chill, keep it fun. You start wearing people out, now everyone's over it.
Although I love late night toasts.
No, late night toasts are later. But I'm just saying, like during the actual thing, too much. And then there's there's like the mom and daughter dance, and there's the mom and son dance. There's just too many you're sitting there for 2 hours at dinner, just like waiting, like when is this thing over? Okay. So keep it all just concise, pick the hits and run. Now this next one is a huge one for me. It's maybe the biggest one. Because this is where the night goes bad or awesome. Do not hire a wedding band unless the wedding band is playing jazz during dinner. You want a DJ thumping some like fun hip hop club music. Because the idea is that by the end of dinner, everyone's soft, loose, ready to have a good time. When you hit me with the ladies and gentlemen, YMC, I literally want to die. So what I need a club environment. I want to walk into a room where it's low light, there's booze everywhere, and someone's just like ripping some like hits and some hip hop, and everyone feels like it's not awkward, it's not too lit. You need to make it feel mellow, where it's like the music's pumping and we're all hanging out. Or else you have to drink a lot to get over the awkwardness of how awkward the dancing situation is.
So what do you think about like kick-ass cover bands?
No.
At weddings?
No bands.
Like not a Rush cover band?
No, that's the worst. No one wants to dance to a band. This isn't
Billy Joel cover band.
This isn't the 60s, dude. You don't go to a club with all your friends where you want to dance, and there's a band up there going 1, 2, 3. You go to a club and there's a DJ ripping
a Rammstein cover band.
Now we're talking. But you know what I'm saying? Like play why in every aspect of your life when you go dancing at a bar or a club, you have a certain thing you do, and then at weddings people just ignore all those things because they feel like it's not classy. And then you end up listening to some guy sing like The Time of Our Lives, and you're sitting there just like, this is kind of awkward, and like grandma's kind of dancing next to me. Like make it fun, make it hip hop, make it like you would dance at a club. Make the music right. Like if you're playing music with all the friends at a house party, that's the music you want to play.
Becca and I said that we would have like the first 30 minutes of the dance be like kid friendly, and we would open it up with the hamster dance.
Well, whatever. If you're doing more of a theme thing or whatever, like that's cool. But if you're like trying to get your friends have a good time,
imagine. I could just imagine you if it went to like, and now the DJ, and he just went, da-ba-dee-da-dee-be-do-do.
But if it's meant for kids, that's different.
It is if it's meant for kids.
It's meant for kids, but if it's adults trying to be
then
silly
you see
or whatever,
a bunch of kids rush out, they're like,
that's fun, dude. That's fun. But it's if you're trying to actually have an adult time and then like someone's playing just like play, whatever, and just like, oh, this is ruined.
No,
the night is ruined. I
do agree with that. I went to a wedding where they had there were too many events. Too many things to sit down. Like they had a dance portion. They had hired dancers to come. So they interrupted the whole dance thing and everyone had to sit down for the show. And it was just like, dude, like I just want to socialize with people.
Hang and drink. What are we doing here?
Entertainment's cool, but like this is also like kitschy and like it's hilarious. And like, of course it's very you, but also like, I just want to hang out with people. And so that, that to me is like, you got to allow for that freedom. Now, I do like being entertained. This is like when you go to like on a larger scale, if you have a bigger budget, lots of games and lots of entertainment are really fun.
Games?
Photo booths.
But again, that's side stuff. That's not everyone has to join in. That's
I'm
side
just
stuff.
saying it's fun.
I love it, but it's side stuff. What I'm saying is when you're making someone collectively do something.
Yeah.
Make sure it's just chill and fun.
Okay, so now we've got it covered where you're not going to do a band unless they're phenomenal.
And by the way, that's cheap. Having your buddy on Spotify ripping a playlist.
And you have everyone send in a song that they want for the wedding.
Make it
for the
fun.
thing. And you don't have to put everyone's song. You can read through the list.
No, and you'd be like, this
just
is
be like, no, we're not going to play that song.
No.
Obviously, you're trolling Uncle Jesse, but no,
Yeah,
we're not
exactly.
doing that one. We're not going to play Sandstorm unless it's at the very end.
Right. So it's like...
And then it goes hard.
So to recap.
Yeah. Free beer.
Free booze. Cheap. It could be cheap.
Snacks and pre-ceremony
Snacks
drinks.
could be cheap as well. Just make sure they're lots and they're sweet and salt.
But
Not sweet, but
A has an addendum, which is free booze, and the free booze needs to start being served
right away.
Pre-ceremony.
Right away.
You
should have a drink in your hand the second you walk in.
Yes.
A lot of people wait, and you have to wait till after the ceremony.
Smoking at the wedding. Yes.
You mean, like a vape station, maybe?
Anything. Just let people smoke whatever they want to smoke.
Right.
If they want to stand off to the side and smoke a mixture of cigarettes and other things, let them.
It's a party.
Make it outdoor. Don't make it a pain in the ass, because then people are going to leave to go and do that.
Yes.
And you don't want them to leave. You don't want them to be too far out of sight.
Yes.
If you can do it, if you can swing it outdoors so everyone's kind of huddled, and then your smoker friends can be just like 30 feet away and they're not bothering anybody. But they're still within sight. The crowd hasn't thinned, and there's a shoutable distance. And free booze, snacks. All of that's important for pre-ceremony anxieties.
Think barbecue at your house.
Yeah.
This is a big thing about weddings. Yeah.
Dress up, though. I'm not big on casual weddings. I want to get dressed up and celebrate your wedding. I want an excuse to wear my dress shoes that I never, ever wear, or wear a button-down shirt. I know a lot of people are distressed at this idea. Yeah, I had to wear a suit.
Love that. I
love getting dressed up in suits. But that's what I also love, going to a wedding in a suit. It adds to the atmosphere, like Halloween, where it's like I get to put on this costume of getting cleaned up and have your friend's family comment on how well you clean up.
It adds to the pageantry.
Yeah.
I love that.
Does. Pageantry is important.
Pageantry is huge. And pass me another beer.
And these events are about pageantry.
I agree. So getting dressed up is fun.
Getting dressed up is a mandatory
event. Got it.
For bro.
So, okay. Keep everything short so that people can hang out.
Yeah.
So we don't need the long ceremonies. We don't need the long speeches. We don't need the long, agendas. Like, you just want people to have a good time. And this is where I feel like people get wrong with weddings, and they forget what you're doing is that this is not for you.
No.
This is for your friends.
It's for everybody else.
This has nothing to do with you, actually.
No one
when
cares.
People talk about like, this is my day. It's like, it's absolutely not your day.
Also, no one gives a shit that you got married.
No one cares. And so people are there to just have a good time and hang out and celebrate you.
Except your mom. Your mom cares.
Your mom cares. But like, when you have a barbecue in your backyard, your mentality is others focused. You go, I want to make sure they have lots of booze. I want to make sure they have lots of good food. I want to make sure the hang is good. I want to make sure I invite the right people and we're all hanging out, whatever. With weddings, people forget that. And they go, I want to make sure I spend the most amount of money on like the ornate decorations and like the venue. I'm like, none of that matters compared to just making sure that people have food, booze, and a good time.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Think you're throwing a backyard party. Oh, and by the way, you're getting married. And you will have the most epic wedding ever. I have had the most fun ever at weddings that were the cheapest weddings I'd ever been to. And I've had the least amount of fun at like super high dollar weddings because people idolized like spending a ton of money on the things and not the actual experience. I don't know. It's just like people just don't get
agree.
it. Drives me nuts. I've been to like $2 million weddings, and they're just like, this is amazing, but at the same time, it's just like I feel like I'm at like Coachella right now.
Well, extravagance on that end can also be like antisocial.
Super antisocial.
So
First, it's like I've been to like backyard weddings with like friends, and they're just like 30 people, and we're having a monster time.
yeah,
And they spent like $300 on the wedding, and it's just like the funnest time ever.
yeah.
You know,
I also think the after party, depending on the crowd, if everyone in your family's chill, don't move the after party somewhere. Don't make people leave like where the ceremony is.
yeah, make it, yeah. Because
Just
you gotta
all in
leave, like
one,
get on a bus.
all in one. Don't do that shit. And then don't delay it like 2 hours so people can have a costume change. Whatever the fuck. If you want to have a costume change as the bride and groom, power to you. I actually think that's a good idea. But everyone else can just stay in their shit, and everyone else can just stay where they are.
Yeah,
And you just have it there. Party in the church, dude.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really simple, but I think people get really into like
That would actually be so fun.
partying in a church.
If you just had the ceremony and then just raged inside of a church.
And it's funny.
Clear the pews.
I love that. It's funny. A wedding is like it's like a club experience where these people are looking for the after party too, because then people start whispering like, "Are we going to go to what are we going to go after? Are we going to go to the bar after?" You know, 'cause you don't want to be a part of the group that's not at the bar.
Or have your venues near a bar so you can declare like, oh, everyone we're shutting down at 9:00. Take it to the bar.
Love that.
And then everyone's there at the bar, and then they're just running up tabs.
Having a blast.
No one gives a shit. And you take over the bar.
You were pretty hungover, yeah?
I was.
Catastrophically hungover?
It wasn't my worst, but I couldn't stand up. I had to leave breakfast.
But I couldn't stand up.
I had to leave breakfast. I went to breakfast in my
You
head.
had some wild hangovers.
My head was in my hands, and I couldn't stand in line for breakfast because you had to order and then sit down. I just couldn't do that. I had to send someone, and I just told them I wanted coffee and orange juice. And then right after they left, I just said, I can't do this. And I just got up and went back to the hotel room. And then just got back in bed, heated up some of the pizza Becca didn't eat all the toppings off of.
Oh, the kids weren't with you though, so you can.
No,
this
the kids
works.
weren't with me. And then I tried to drive, and I immediately had to pull over and switch seats with Becca. And then I just drive the whole time like in the coffin pose, where you just like are a corpse, and you're just like this, and you're reclined, and sunglasses on, the window slightly down. And they're like, you've been asleep this whole time. And you're like, oh, trust me, I am not asleep. You're just lying there,
Holding
just
on for dear life.
existing. You're just like, if I do anything more, like that's it. It's all game over. The whole time Becca's like yelling at me for being like, she's like, I'm tired too. You know that? She's like, I'm fucking tired too. She's like, I'm like, oh my gosh, this drive is so beautiful. And she's like, fuck you. She's like, I'm driving. I should be looking out the window thinking how beautiful it is.
But I do love that I know you and you don't give two shits.
I was like, yeah, I'll literally kill us all. I will kill us all if I drive right now.
Off the beautiful Central Coast cliff we go.
It will happen. I'll just be zoned out. I'll just be too focused on trying not to puke to even turn the wheel. I'll just drive straight and just keep accelerating.
Dude, yeah, it's funny. My body turns on me before I can even drink to that point. Like, I think maybe it's just the age or the body now. It's like, I can't drink to the point now where I can get that hungover. My body goes, by the way, we're going to barf, and like, you're going to start feeling nauseous, like, before I can get to the point where I'm like, kill me.
There is
hungover.
This is the horrible side of like my Irish genetics, is that like there's a point where we're
going.
You don't, if it doesn't happen early, it's just never going to happen. Or
you
just,
mean the like sick feeling of drinking?
where you're just like, I'm just like, I'm not going to drink that. Like, no, I'm not going to drink too much tonight. If you like cross that threshold, you're just like, we could drink like literally, like, we just don't ever stop. You just don't stop. Like 4 a.m, I was opening a bottle of white wine. Bad. White wine, 4 a.m. Bad.
Bad news.
That's what did it. Nothing beforehand. It was just that bottle of wine.
You know what's a funny dynamic?
There's something, I mean, just like you hear about, just like, I don't know what I do believe in like the Irish genetics.
Yeah,
just
sure.
Be a terrible piece of shit when you're partying.
Dude, my father-in-law.
You just never stop. It does. You're like an Energizer bunny. It makes no sense.
My father-in-law is straight up 60 years old.
Mm-hmm.
He outdrinks me anytime we drink by a mile and is up at 5 a.m. No problems. I'm hungover, walking downstairs going, oh, what's up, man? How you doing? He goes, what's up? Making eggs. Do you want anything? And I'm going, bro, you had twice as much as me. How are you not hungover? He goes, I'm man, I don't feel great, but I'm good. And I'm going,
He's a functional alcoholic.
60.
That's because he's drinking when he wakes up. That's the thing. Is like what I failed to do, what was stupid of me, because I always feel so irresponsible when I do this. What you immediately need to do is start drinking again. It's the last thing you want to do. You feel like such a piece of shit.
But there's nothing like a mimosa when you're hungover. It immediately cures all problems.
All alcohol seems like the worst choice when you're hungover, but it's exactly what you need. That's the science behind it. I didn't do that.
That's the science.
I forgot about that part. I forgot about the disease of it.
You need to chug a beer right away.
It's why it's a disease. But yeah, you do have to, or just like take some whiskey.
Something, just get that edge off.
You have to get at least one, however you get at least one beer's worth of alcohol in you right off the bat. That's how you deal with it. And some Excedrin.
My move is orange vodka juice.
An orange vodka juice. Yeah,
that's is it orange juice and vodka in the morning if I'm like hungover?
Food won't do it.
Food doesn't do
You
nothing.
need to do alcohol, lots of alcohol, and then once you're buzzed again, then you do food.
Yes.
Heavy salt, heavy grease.
Burrito, like basically a breakfast burrito is the ultimate.
Cheeseburgers and French fries.
You know what's a funny dynamic?
Bacon with cheese.
A funny dynamic is at a wedding is when you've had a late night with everybody at a wedding. Okay. You know 3 people, you've met 9, right? So now you're in a hotel room wasted with 15 people having a blast. Dude, you're hilarious. How are we not? What?
I said that math adds up.
Right. But like you're packed in a hotel room and half the people you don't know, right? Mm-hmm. But you become best friends with because you're all hanging out, right? Oh my God, dude, you're fucking hilarious. We need to hang out. Best friends, right? Then everyone wakes up the next morning hungover as hell. And then you're just kind of like, sup?
Clammy.
He's like, what's up, dude? And then like, there's always that one guy who's like not quite as hungover, and he's a little bit like, what's up, guys? Did we have a great time last night? And like, we're like, what?
That's where I'm just there like this.
And
like,
no one's ever gonna talk to each other again. And like, they were best friends, but like 8 hours ago, you all were best friends. Now we're like not even looking at each other.
I feel like I always look like I'm gonna cry when I'm really hungover. I'm just there, just like
that's like really hungover. Pain. So you're like hanging on for dear life.
I get it bad if I'm like that. Yeah, and that's why I really don't ever want to drink when I'm hungover. My hangover is where I'm like, I will start to spiral on like, what's every bad decision I've ever made?
Oh, you start thinking about things.
I'm like, God, I'm such a piece of shit. That's where I get to.
You get depressed.
That's where I'm like, when I look at the beer and I'm like, you fucking loser.
You start getting all
you're hungover because you're a loser. Yeah. Because you're hungover because you're an out of control idiot.
You're the worst person ever.
That's what and I'll be like, yeah, you deserve this pain. You deserve this pain. That's what kids have done to me. Pre-kids, I would have just been like, hell no, I am not going to go through this feeling. I would be like, go to bed with like something, whatever I'm going to wake up and drink next to me.
And then, well, the beautiful thing is too, before you had kids, you could sleep in till 11.
Because I do, yeah. And just have all the lights turn off. Be like a 5 movie day.
It's so funny. I have friends who every once in a while, if I still go drinking or with some buds, it's like, I'm up at 7 the next day, hungover and tired and exhausted. And they text at 11. And go, what's up, man? How you doing? And I go, how you doing? They're like, I feel great. And you're like, well, yeah, because you slept for 13 hours. I slept for 4.
Yeah.
Like, no wonder why this doesn't like work. You know what I mean? Like, you guys don't get hungover because you just slept. But when you have kids, now your body's tuned in. Like, I don't know how you are, but like if I go to bed at 3 a.m., like I'm up at 8.
If I have to do something, I'll do it.
Right.
If I don't have to do it,
can you still sleep in?
Yeah.
I'm up at 8:30. Like there's nothing I can do.
Well, that's sleeping into me now. My
I'm saying though, if you went to bed at 4,
could I sleep till 1?
Could you sleep in till 11 or 12?
No.
Me neither. It's brutal.
I don't think I could. I think I'd sleep till like 9, and I feel like I slept an eternity. Pre-kids would easily.
I could see you sleeping in very late.
Easily. Sleep. I mean, yeah. I was past noon most times. Like if it's Saturday, if I don't have work.
Shit, that's amazing.
If I don't have work, like I ditch so much school just to sleep. Not for any reason. I would have done the work and I just be like, I don't care. I'd rather sleep right now.
Wow.
And just sleep till like.
So you just wouldn't go to class because you were tired?
Yeah, because it felt better. I just be like, no, I don't want to get out of bed. I just rather sleep.
Didn't you flunk or no?
No, I did pretty good actually.
Oh, was it one of those schools that you could like miss class because they were just like whatever your final grade is?
No, I just
no, because I had a lot of classes like that. Like certain classes that were like it doesn't matter if you come to school.
That's what I'm saying. Like, oh, I did the assignment. I would just be like, I'll just email the assignment.
They don't care if you show up. They just care if like the work gets done. Yeah.
Yeah. Just be like, oh, I just whatever. Here's the assignment.
Well, you went to a summer camp anyways, so. From what I hear, this is like Hogwarts meets summer camp. It's the most amazing place ever.
Like Hogwarts without magic.
But God, it's still some
without
magic.
some fucking piece of shit named Malfoy. And like a serial killer. And we didn't have like a serial killer plaguing the students.
But, I mean.
Like a noseless molester running around.
Yeah, the wedding thing is interesting because like, we've all been to a lot of weddings at this point. Now in our 30s, it's like, it's funny how the bougiest weddings don't mean they're going to be great. And like the cheapest weddings don't mean they're going to be bad at all. If anything, it's like a lot of times it's the opposite because people are focused on the fun stuff instead of like the center piece.
I'm going to make sure we have everything that we discussed on our checklist.
Yes, please.
But I would also like to have, now here's where I'm going to talk about dream weddings. I'd like to have carnival rides.
Like actual carnival rides?
Like Ferris wheel, the scrambled eggs one. Where it's
so
like
you and Becca have talked about, you guys want your wedding to be
around.
like crazy
Think
over the top.
of like, what's that rave where there's a carnival?
Like EDM, whatever world or whatever it is. Like,
yeah, but it wouldn't be like EDM music playing, but you just have like a carnival.
You want a carnival?
That'd be like one part of the fairgrounds.
How many people do you want? Because I think Becca said something.
Everyone
I want like
I've
hundreds.
ever met.
So you want like you. So you don't want a small wedding. You want like
I want everyone to bathe in the glory that is my marriage.
Both you and Becca, I feel like it's gonna be perfect because both you guys have this like massive dream of just having the most like bathing ego wedding of all time.
Stupid ego wedding. Yeah, I want to be like, I am getting married, and you're all gonna watch it, and you're all gonna celebrate the fuck out of it as well. And here we are, we're gonna do it together.
So you want a wedding with like
ostentatious and
would you want like
ridiculous as possible.
500 people?
Yeah, more. I'd want more. I just want like a huge crowd, like a sea of people, all black tie. I'd want it to be like a mix of The Great Gatsby meets Burning Man. And I would like there to be some dangerous elements as well. Like
what are the dangerous?
There's fire performances throughout the crowd. I would like there to be fireworks. Fireworks would be really fun.
Okay.
Not a long fireworks show, just some fireworks.
Maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah. Everyone would like it when they're all drunk and shit.
Yeah. At the end?
And there's just, yeah.
And you guys are sitting on the thing and they just behind you.
And that's when you have the band play something on horns.
That's fine. That's fine.
And they're just like, pop, 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 pop. And then you see all the elephants and like zebra and the circus people are packing up.
Oh, so you're gonna have zebra and circus people.
Popcorn being handed out, and everyone's sitting on the bleachers, and they're all disheveled a little bit, and they're all having popcorn.
So this is a Barnum and Bailey's affair as well.
It's part of it. Ice skating would be fun to have at a wedding.
That'd be fun. That would be fun.
That would be fun.
Coachella meets Stagecoach meets
How crazy
Carnival.
would it be if you thought like the wedding venue was all that it was? There was like just a curtain there, and then after the ceremony, the curtain pulls back, and it was just like Moulin Rouge behind the curtain.
That'd be amazing.
Incredible.
Amazing.
Right? That's what I'm talking about.
So you're going to spend like 10 mil on the wedding?
I want it to be like, everyone, you think it's like this, but here's, the Imaginarium of Dr. whatever the fuck meets Monkey Bone, meets Moulin Rouge.
This sounds like the funnest night of my life.
Meets, Baz Luhrmann's Great Gatsby.
Wow. This sounds incredible. I'm so down.
Incredible. All black tie.
Yeah, everyone's very fancy, but there's also a playful element to it.
Yeah.
Straw on the
ground.
And I would like
some Cinderella. I'd like some aspects from Cinderella where like everyone is either pulling up in like a horse and carriage or like a stretch limousine.
Okay, so maybe there's shuttles.
Maybe.
So maybe you have like an offsite parking,
But
and then
the
and
shuttles
people are
are
being brought in.
you choose horse and carriage or stretch limo.
I like the horse and carriage. That's fun.
That's really fun.
That's fun,
right?
Yeah,
That's a nice element.
I like offsite parking with like a ton of like, and it's close by. Mm-hmm. It's like a quarter mile. It's like a quick little jaunt.
Yeah, enough to enjoy it.
Yeah, but not far enough to
for
where
the
it's like,
novelty
this is
to
kind
wear
of like
off.
far. Yeah.
Yeah, not for the novelty to wear off.
Where are we doing this, by the way? Like
Buckingham Palace.
it's a destination wedding with 1,000 people. It's a 5,000 person destination wedding. Costs $40 million. I don't know, the Louvre.
Just one of Henry the 17th. One of Henry the
his places.
17 chateaus, like just somewhere on the Mediterranean.
Bro, you know what would be
Maybe
amazing?
a boat ensemble in the
It
middle
would
of
be
the
amazing
Mediterranean
to go
Sea.
to some sort of like French, like Dutch's wedding where you're like in some ball and it's like dun, 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 and you're like walking in and it's like that would be amazing.
Some shit, dude.
In like
It
the
would
French
be
Riviera.
So fun.
And they're like, the Duchess of whatever is getting married, and you're like, dun, 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 and you're walking in, and they're like, Sir Richard III and Sir Grayston.
And then you're like, you come in and be like, where are the fucking hors d'oeuvres?
Sir Grayston of marijuana, and then you walk in. And
Where's my cocktail and hors d'oeuvres? I want a corn dog.
And I was like,
now.
y'all got an orange vodka?
Who's got the mini? Where are the mini corn dogs?
Corn Dog Castle, where
I want
is
a cocktail weenie stat.
it? Where is it?
A little bit of Dijon. You got the fancy stuff.
You got the horseradish?
A pickle. Do
Dude,
you
I want to go to a wedding now. This sounds fun as shit. I want to
Right?
go to a wedding. You got me all hyped up.
the dude. Or I mean, I also think it'd be fun to have like
Or underwater.
Ooh. Do you remember reading about the underwater hotels?
Yes, in Dubai. That was big. They were like working on
Do those still exist?
I think they built some to where like you go under and it's like you're basically like your suite is just like the ocean.
Been reading Ruth a book about a beast who lives inside of an iceberg,
Okay.
and that's really been making the gears turn. I'm just like imagining whenever I read it, they show the thing of it, and I'm like, man, that would be actually like really incredible.
That would be sick.
Hollow out the inside of an iceberg.
I like that.
That's like some James Bond stuff.
Sure.
Remember he stays in the ice hotel in one of them?
Yes.
It's like
Yeah.
underwater and it's like an ice hotel and they have the race on top of the ice. Mm-hmm. That'd be fun. That's kind of goals.
Cold though, I'm not a big cold guy.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you don't want to be like outside like freezing.
No, that's cool. That's a practical approach to that. Looks like the James Bond life isn't for me because I'd get cold.
A little chilly.
Little too chilly.
When I'm
James
killing
Bond.
bad guys, I get cold.
There's a high chance of being uncomfortably cold if you live a life like James Bond, and that's enough.
That's enough for me to give up the
Humbly,
MI life,
MI6 isn't for me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, MQ.
Cute. My bad, guys. My bad.
There's a 70% chance of precipitation, and that's
And there's an 80% chance of me not being on the mission. This felt like an old bros episode.
it did.
Just like an OG one where we're just shooting the shit,
did.
talking about life.
I miss having a guest. Can we wrap it? I want to wrap it with
wrap it. Let's do a quick one. Grab one.
a quick
Let's
one.
do a quick one. You get the best of me the years and the years to come.
We'll wrap by unwrapping.
We will wrap, unwrap.
Yeah.
To wrap, we must unwrap. Mental health matters.
This one says to Becca, so I'm wondering if this is actually just a fucking package for her that came to the gym.
This one says Chatty Bros podcast. This one just says Becca, so it's probably not for us then.
Some people have addressed it to like.
Oh. But whatever is in this, we get to keep. Whatever's in hers.
Yeah.
Because it's probably something dope, so probably
They've
something.
also probably resent whatever they needed.
Yeah. So we get to keep it this time. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Oh, yeah, this is for Becca. But, holy shit, this was a death note for Becca.
Death.
Whoever this person is sent Becca a salted peanut bar.
Is she allergic to nuts?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
It would kill her. And this is a nut goodie. My God. I still can't tell if this is partly for us or...
While you do that, I'll do mine.
I'm... Okay.
All right, so this one says, "You are loved. Hello, friend. I'm grateful for your order." Okay, this is it's mental health matters. Oh. Look at these hats. These are cool.
Does matter. Oh, sick.
They're so cool. We got black and blue. These are nice little hats.
I like this.
They're very cool.
With the oldie.
Look at this. We got a shirt. Mental health matters. Very cool.
I like that. Do they have a little thing about whatever this is?
We got another shirt. My therapist knows about you. That's good.
I love that.
I don't know. It just... Oh, here we go. It says, "You are loved. Marie Button, owner, creator of Button Designs." It says, "Grayson and Evan, hi. I sure hope this package makes it to you. My name is Marie, and I hand letter stickers, apparel, mugs, and more with mental health messages. I try to remind everyone they are loved while working to end the stigma. I'm getting my master's in social work to become a therapist as well. You both have somewhat recently begun your therapy journey, so enjoy. Love the pod, Becca and Jess as well." Oh, awesome. These are great.
I appreciate that she cut the tags out.
Oh, I know you don't like tags. Oh, look at this one. This is a cool little pin. It says "Keep going."
Nice Bella
This
canvas,
is really cool.
Buttons.
Marie, these are great.
Oh my gosh,
these
very
buttons
cute.
Yeah, they're super cool. These buttons are great.
I love
This one
that.
says, "You are important." This one says, "Keep climbing."
going.
Ooh, I like this one. This one's "Keep climbing." That's for you.
Oh,
This is a cool
I
backpack.
will. I will do both. I will keep.
You don't have to
going and
carry
keep
all by yourself. This is really cool.
going. Lovely.
Thank you for sending.
Hi, bros. Long-time Broads listener, first-time Bros caller. Love it. My name is Jocelyn, and I've owned my own yarn company, Wool, for 12 years. It's just myself and a part-time employee trying to make a living doing something we love. We use organic fibers and focus on USA-based manufacturing partners. Wool's yarns are for crafters, broads and bros, and everyone in between who knit, crochet, weave, etc. My website is owool.com, O-WOOL.com, and my IG is OWOOL, Wool. Over. My husband and I also have a small unofficial farm animal sanctuary. What? Called called Party Rats. I read that as Purity Rats, and I was like, what the
That's sick.
Party Rats, which you'll see a lot of. I know, that's like a born-again virgin. You're a Purity Rat.
Sounds like a band name.
You know, because you're tainted. And Wool's IG stories. Our farm is largely supported by my Wool income, but my dream is to make it a nonprofit in the next 5 to 10 years. Our residents include, but are not limited to, Dr. Leo Spaceman, D.O., or I wonder if it's Dr. Leo Spaceman, D.O.
Spaceman. I like Spaceman.
Well, that's the joke in 30 Rock. The doctor's name is Dr. Space. He calls him Dr. Spaceman, but the doctor introduced himself as Dr. Spaceman.
That's hilarious.
No Ears is a goat. I'm assuming they have no ears. Steve is their rooster. That's a great name for a rooster. Crinklefoot is their hen, and the Weenie is a 3-legged pit bull. Cute. I hope one of y'all and or the kiddos can make something fun with this yarn. Much love, Jocelyn. Oh,
rad.
And the yarn looks... There's something about seeing a box of yarn where, like, doesn't it just make you feel crafty? Doesn't that just, like, Martha Stewart?
Yeah. You feel
right
like I'm ready to do this.
You're like, holy shit,
That's a
dude,
lot.
this is so soft.
I feel like you guys are big into yarn, yeah?
Nah, you know, Becca knows how to do this stuff. It's one of those projects. I remember going with Becca.
This is really cool.
This isn't a dig on her, by the way, but I just remember
this looks like hair.
Going to a craft store and she bought giant yarn to make a giant blanket, and that never happened.
I would imagine it's a ton of work. But this is really, the branding's amazing. Go check them out. Wool, local.
This is really beautiful.
This is really, really cool
and
stuff.
Also, if
Look
you want
at
to
50% alpaca from farms in Pennsylvania, New Jersey. Wow, really cool.
And all of
nice
this
work.
supports their animal sanctuary. And so if you care about the little life of Dr. Leo Spaceman, or Dr. Leo Spaceman Dio, the mini
I love the idea of Dr. Leo Spaceman.
the mini pig. You can
That is
support
really cool.
by ordering some wool. The
Well,
animals
and mental health matters by
hats off to that marketing too, because the animals got me.
the animals got you. Really cute.
Steve the rooster.
At Button Designs is the Marie Button. So these are awesome. Thank you guys.
Good
Appreciate
job,
it.
you bros. You're always so inspiring.
Appreciate you guys. Love you so much. Have an amazing week. We'll see you next week.
Love you.